Today we're at the amazing Glenorchy Conservation Area in Oakville, Ontario to explore this ecosystem in a really interesting way through a game of environmental bingo. There's no time to waste, let's get right into it. Today's game of environmental bingo is in the Glenorchy Conservation Area. Like in normal bingo, we're going to have to try to fill out our bingo card. Unlike normal bingo, we're going to have to complete 8 different challenges to be able to do that. The 8 challenges today are capturing 3 different nature sounds, taking a photo of a native plant, removing a piece of trash from Glenorchy, finding a geological feature, finding a fungi or mushroom, taking a photo of an invasive plant, IDing an insect, and estimating the age of a tree. Now, we've had a lot of rain and flooding here recently, so let's get started by trying to make our way into the conservation area to complete these challenges. So I'm walking down to get into the area where I always go into Glenorchy to film my videos. And after all the rain and the flooding we had the last couple weeks, I'm greeted with all these trees in the way, so I can already tell that getting to where I want it to go is going to be a bit of a slog today. Good thing we brought lots of water for this shoot. We're doing a bit of limbo here to get through. Over. Already sweating 3 steps in. All of this was actually underwater like literally 5 days ago. It's crazy how much the water's actually receded in such a short amount of time. Looks like we're actually going to be able to complete our first task here, which is pick up a piece of litter. And unfortunately, less than 2 minutes into my walk here, I've come across what looks to be a Bud Light can. Can never understand why people are coming out here and leaving beer cans. But we are going to pick this one up and we're going to get rid of it. So that's task 1 done. We got 1 piece of trash and we're going to throw it out on our way out today. Little bit disappointing to find some trash so early on into our adventure, but it does allow us to check off the first box in our bingo game. But it does seem like I'm going to have to come back at some point and try and collect a lot more of this garbage. Keep seeing the damage from the flooding last week. This tree is almost completely toppled over, going almost right across the creek, but still holding on for dear life somehow. Look at him right there, just perched on that leaf. Again, I'm sorry, I don't know what you are right now, but we will figure it out soon. They don't seem too afraid of me. I'm about 3 feet away from him right now. I don't know if that came across super well in video, but we saw our insect that we're going to count as our 1 insect identified, and it looked like a grasshopper, but when I get back home, I'm going to ID it, and I'll let you know exactly what kind of grasshopper it is. So scratch that, I'm pretty sure it's not a grasshopper. I think it's actually some kind of dragonfly. You can tell my lack of knowledge about insect identification, but that's why I'm out here trying to get better at it. But like I said, we'll actually ID that back at home and make sure we actually get the identification correct. So I used iNaturalist to identify the insect, and it turns out it's an ebony jewel wing. These are a species of damselfly known for their striking appearance. Males have iridescent bluish-black wings and metallic green bodies, while females have brown wings and white spots near the tips. These damselflies are commonly found near slow-moving streams and rivers in eastern North America, where they perch on vegetation and feed on small flying insects. So it kind of makes sense why we're seeing them here by 16 Mile Creek. And one fun fact is that ebony jewelwings engage in elaborate courtship displays, with males fluttering their wings and performing aerial dances to attract potential mates. I'm actually seeing those little black dragonflies everywhere. It's pretty cool. And as I say that, there's one right beside me. But now that's 2 out of 8 of our tasks completed. It's clear from my very embarrassing attempt at IDing an insect that I am no insect expert, but nonetheless, we've completed this challenge on our bingo game, and we can move on to the next one. It's funny because if you had told me 5 years, maybe more, 10 years ago, that I'd be making a video about an environmental bingo game, I would have told you were crazy. Growing up, I was never actually into the environment or nature. I wanted to go into astrophysics because I was really into space. But then during my bachelor's degree, I took a really good environmental science course all about wetlands and peatlands and hydrology. Completely changed everything I thought about environmental science, nature, the environment, ecology. And from that point on, went on to do a master's in environmental science, PhD focusing on soil. And then my passion for the environment and nature just kept growing and growing. Point of this long rambling story is that my interest changed a lot just because of one course I took. And that just gives me hope that we can get more and more people interested in the environment, because all it takes is one spark, one idea, or one thought to get people thinking about the environment, environmental issues, environmental science. And hopefully some of these videos can start to do that for some people. I think everybody has a part to play in environmental protection, environmental stewardship. Even if you're not sure what that part is, it could be something small. It could be storytelling, picking up some trash in your local area. It could be lobbying different companies or different organizations for their practices. It could be just advocating and being an ally for environmental organizations and events, volunteering in your local area. I think what makes environmental conservation so exciting is that everyone can find their unique piece of the puzzle to play. Oh, as I almost wipe out again. All that being said, I hope you guys are enjoying the videos. Definitely more to come. And I know I put a poll recently about how anyone would like to impact the environment. And a lot of people said through volunteering and actual on-the-ground efforts. So we're gonna try and make some more videos where we're actually getting out and doing something and making an impact and taking you guys along for the ride so we can all make change together. So we're gonna keep going on further into Glenorchy, and I'm gonna try and make my way over to the deeper forest area. I think we're gonna be able to complete some more of our bingo challenges there. And hopefully the terrain's not too difficult, although it's definitely been a bit of a slog with still the impact of the flooding from last week. But can't complain because it is a beautiful day out here and the water levels have gone down and it's very quiet, very peaceful, and it's always just great to be outside and out here in nature. Even if I'm losing half my body weight in sweat being out here. Considering how much rain we've had the last few weeks, the water's actually very clear right now. So maybe we'll actually be lucky enough and see some fish while we're out here, or some frogs or some other exciting wildlife. So across the creek here is kind of a bit of older, more mature forest. And that's where we're gonna head right now to try and complete some more of our bingo tasks. So as I cross the creek here, I'm gonna count these escarpment edges as our geologic feature for this bingo challenge. And I'm gonna show you some of these pretty cool sedimentary and rock layers that we're seeing on this cliff face here. So you can see this embankment or cliff face, which is part of the escarpment here. You can see all the different rock layers that have formed over potentially millions of years. And I'm not a geologist or anything, but I always find it really cool to see the layers of these rock formations. And if I relate back to my own field of expertise, the layers of soil cores, because these are like time capsules, and these different layers of this rock face will have been formed over different periods of time and each tell a different history of the environment that we can use as data to help us understand what past environmental conditions look like. But all that being said, this is another checkbox that we've completed on our bingo challenge today. How on earth does a golf ball end up in the middle of a forest with basically no path to get here? I mean, there is a golf course way up here and back behind these trees, but you gotta be pretty far offline to end up with your shot coming all the way down here. So this is actually one of my favorite spots to come in all of Glenorchy. It's removed from the original path, but it's not so far away that it's inaccessible. It's really quiet. All I can see right now is the sun shining through the trees. I'm in the middle of an older forest that's relatively untouched, which you don't find that much in a suburban area. And it's just so quiet, and you feel like you're in another world or like a really untouched part of nature, which you can really appreciate in such a densely populated area. So one of our bingo tasks today is to capture 3 different nature sounds. So if you can listen carefully, you can hear quite a few birds chirping right now. We're gonna count that as our first of 3 different nature sounds. So as I'm walking through this forest right now, I'm on the hunt to find a mushroom, which I can't honestly say I've ever said before, but to be able to mark it off on our checklist, we have to find some kind of fungi. So I have my eyes peeled. I'd ask you all to let me know if you see anything. Oh, there's a spider web I just walked into. I don't know how well this is gonna come across on camera, but I just walked into this spider web that stretches all the way across this path here, which is pretty crazy. Kind of hard to see, but humongous in person. Some other things we're still on the hunt for. We got to identify the age of a tree. We got to take a photo of a native and invasive plant species. What else do we have to do? Still got to find our mushroom. And I think that'll set us on our way. There's 2 more golf balls even deeper and further into the forest. I don't know what it is about the golfers at the golf course up there, but I think some of them definitely need to work on their aim. So I am realizing that I forgot my measuring tape to take the circumference measurement of the tree and try and guess its age. So instead, I am going to go back to the house after this, and I am going to let you all know how to guess the age of a tree using the circumference measurement. So the way to estimate the age of a tree is using a pretty simple and straightforward calculation. All you need is a calculator and a tape measure, the thing that I actually forgot. First, you need to measure the circumference of the tree at chest height, or around 4.5 feet off the ground. Next, you need to take that measurement and divide it by pi. And we're not talking about apple or cherry here, the pi we all learned about in math class. This gives you the diameter at breast height, or the dBH of the tree. Third and finally, you need to find the specific growth factor for your tree and multiply that by your dBH value. The growth factor is an average rate of growth per year for a specific tree. Most common trees should have their growth factor online. Once you've done that, you now have the estimate of your tree age in years. Congrats! So for example, if a maple tree has a 30-inch circumference, dividing by 3.14 gives a diameter of about 9.5 inches, and using a growth factor of 4.5 for maples, multiplying 9.5 by 4.5 estimates the tree at around 43 years old. Good luck with your trees. This task was a bit of a fail since we forgot our measuring tape, but I hope you got a sense of how to estimate the age of a tree next time you're out in the forest, and we're going to check this one off on our bingo card and move closer to the finish line. So what I'm about to show you may not look like a conventional mushroom or fungi, but I'm pretty confident that it's some kind of fungal spore, fungal body. But you can feel free to correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. But here's what I found. So this tree is uprooted, and at the base of the tree here are what appears to be a bunch of fungal spores and fungal bodies. I don't know if these are mycorrhizae or some other kind of fungus, but I, with my limited knowledge of mushrooms and fungi, am going to call this a fungi. And again, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. The white growth we're seeing on the decaying log in the forest could potentially be a species of Trichoderma, a genus of fungi known for its rapid growth and ability to colonize dead wood and plant material. Trichoderma species are common in forest environments and can appear as white, green, or yellowish fluffy patches on decaying organic matter. These fungi are beneficial in many ways, acting as biocontrol agents against plant pathogens, promoting plant growth, and aiding in the decomposition process. But like I said, let me know in the comments below if you think this is something completely different. All the doubt and confusion aside, I'm pretty confident what we're seeing is some kind of fungi here, which means we can check off yet another task on our bingo card, and we're moving closer to the finish line. So here I was trying to find a native plant species to take a photo of. I went through a classic indecisive moment where I was trying to decide between a series of different plants before I settled on the one you're seeing now. So what we found here is actually annual fleabane, which is a native wildflower species throughout Ontario and many other parts of North America. It's known for its ability to quickly colonize disturbed areas such as roadsides, fields, and construction sites, making it one of the first species to appear in these habitats. As a pioneer species, annual fleabane helps to stabilize the soil and pave the way for other plants to establish themselves in the newly disturbed environment. As a native species in Ontario, annual fleabane plays an essential role in local ecosystems, providing food and habitat for various insects and other wildlife. There were hundreds of different options we could have picked for our native plant here, but nonetheless, we found our native plant for the bingo game, and we can check off this on our bingo card. This really is a bit of a hidden gem of an area, a conservation area. And I'm really glad that my local conservation authority, Conservation Halton, is doing everything they can to protect it and restore it, because it really is just an amazing piece of property. And that's kind of one of the main reasons I'm doing this challenge. It's just really nice to be out in areas like this And I wanted to do a few more kind of hands-on, learn some things, make a bit of an impact, create some change, and just really explore my local area. And I hope you guys appreciate these kinds of videos and these kinds of challenges. And I'm hoping I can do more of these so I can be out here and show you guys some more of this amazing scenery, and we can all learn some more things about the environment together. And as I'm talking to you, I'm gonna make sure I don't fall into this creek and drop my phone. But yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying this video, this kind of different style for me. And yeah, more of these to come. So it's kind of hard to see off in the distance there, but the current's a bit strong here, so I don't want to cross up here. But I believe I see some buckthorn trees up there, which is an invasive species here in Ontario. And although they're kind of hard to see on video here, I will show a picture that I took of one further back, and we can talk about them. Common buckthorn is an invasive shrub or small tree species that has become a significant problem in Ontario and other parts of North America. Originating from Europe and Asia, it was introduced to North America as an ornamental plant, but has since spread aggressively, outcompeting native flora. Common buckthorn's ability to thrive in various habitats, produce large numbers of seeds, and form dense thickets allows it to quickly dominate an area, reducing biodiversity and altering ecosystem dynamics. Its presence can lead to soil degradation, as its leaves contain compounds that can inhibit the growth of other plants. As an invasive species in Ontario, common buckthorn poses a serious threat to native plant communities and the wildlife that depend on them, making it a priority for conservation efforts and control measures. Even though we saw it from a distance, we still saw our invasive plant of buckthorn, and we're going to check that one off and move closer to the finish line. So we're at a good point where we can get our second of 3 nature sounds, and that's going to be the sound of this creek flowing pretty steadily right now because of all the rain we've had. So I'm going to let that sound play for a few seconds here. The last few years I've gotten super into kayaking, although I don't own a kayak. I love the idea of kayaking and taking it down these kinds of waterways where you can just see all of the environment from a different perspective. And there's so much of me right now that just wants to go onto Amazon and buy an inflatable kayak and just go down this creek. Let me know if you have these same kind of impulsive desires to just see these kinds of environments in different, unique ways. Bit of a gravel beach here. And the light is amazing right now, making the whole river just sparkle. All the trees are glowing. Couldn't ask for a better time to be out here. And right across the creek, there's these ephemeral wetlands, or these seasonal wetlands that have been created from all this rain. And I can hear from back here, it's pretty loud frog noises. So I'm gonna walk over there and let you hear some of those frogs for our third and final nature sound. That's all 3 nature sounds in the books, so we can check off our 8th and final task on our bingo card. Spending time in places like the Glenorchy Conservation Area reminds us of the vital role we play in protecting and preserving these ecosystems. By engaging with nature and learning about the species that call these areas home, we develop a deeper appreciation and sense of responsibility towards the environment. It's clear that even in your local ecosystems, there's a wealth of fascinating organisms and processes to discover, learn about, explore, and ultimately protect. I really encourage everyone to take the time to get outside and immerse themselves in the amazing natural environments around them. Whether it's through hiking, birdwatching, photographing wildlife, or simply enjoying a peaceful walk in the woods. By engaging with nature in different fun and exciting ways, we can develop a deeper appreciation for the incredible biodiversity that exists right in our own backyards. I hope you all enjoyed exploring the Glenorchy Conservation Area through this game of environmental bingo, and I look forward to having you join me in the next video for another exciting environmental adventure.